Hello and welcome to Mr. Recapped. Let us look at the first season in episode 2. The masked man hears the screams of a little boy who has been kidnapped from his father's truck. Murdoch tries to save the child but is severely beaten since they knew he was coming. He is thrown into the garbage by his kidnappers. Santino discovers him and informs his doctor neighbor, Claire Temple. They bring him to her apartment, where she shines a spotlight on his eyes and discovers that he doesn't react. She begins to dial 911 but is stopped by the guy, who awakens and warns her that the men are coming and would kill everyone in the hospital to get to him. The man then loses consciousness. Before he was blinded, Matt Murdock used to watch his father, Battle and Jack Murdock, box on television. Matt does not go to bed when Jack returns home after the fight. They talk about the struggle, and Jack begs his son to sew up his wounds. Matt is surprised when Jack shows him the money and questions how he received so much after losing. It doesn't matter to Jack, he says, as long as he fights. Murdoch awakens later to Temple asking him how a blind guy in a mask could be found in her garbage, to which he receives no response. She asks him for his name, but he does not respond, so she calls him Mike. A young Murdoch wakes up in the hospital after his mishap. Murdoch's father attempts to calm him down, but all he can say is that he can't see. Murdoch awakens again, but this time due to a lung collapse. Temple once again saves his life. When she begs for an explanation, he tells her about the youngster and what he attempted. Murdoch intends to pursue the youngster once more. He interrupts the talk when he hears a man on the next level. He claims to smell the man's cologne as well, which perplexes Temple. Murdoch remained at Fogwell's gym after his father was blinded. Two goons entered the gym one day and approached his father. Roscoe Sweeney wants him to take a fall during the upcoming battle against Carl Creel so he can win a bet. Jack first refuses, unaware that Matt is listening, but when his son's future is jeopardized, Jack informs them that he will lose. When the thug arrives at the door. When Temple opens it, she discovers a man disguised as a cop inquiring whether she has seen a man in a mask. He departs when she tells him no. Murdoch informs her that he did not believe the falsehood. He then pulls out a fire extinguisher and throws it down the stairway, striking the man at the bottom. They drag him up to the roof and bind him. Temple interrogates Murdoch about his motivations, but eventually believes he is on the right track. Meanwhile, Karen Page is cleaning up the office when she hears Foggy Nelson, who is ignorant of her presence, singing to himself. To allay Page's anxieties about New York City, they head to a pub and get drunk. They go to Murdoch's flat and make a commotion that wakes up his neighbor. Page suggests they go home as they depart, but Nelson objects. Seaman, the thug, awakens, and the masked man interrogates him. Seaman informs him that the child, like the others, will be sold. The masked man, enraged, tortures him. Seaman tells him where the youngster is by placing a knife exactly over his eye socket. He then slashes Seaman and tosses him through the ceiling. When Temple wonders whether he's still alive, the masked man says he'll live. Temple is ordered to leave because the Russians who beat Murdoch for disturbing their sex slave trading operations would come after her. Temple informs him of her whereabouts in case she needs to sew up more of his wounds. Jack picks his ego on the night of the battle. He phones a friend called Ed and requests that they place a bet on his winning. He instructs them to deposit the money he will get into an account under the name Matthew Murdoch. He then phones Matt's mother and asks her to keep an eye out for their kid. He dashes inside the dressing room after defeating Creel, hoping to make a speedy getaway. When he hears his name yelled in the ring, he stops for a while before embracing it once more. He is subsequently discovered dead in an alleyway, at the location where the youngster is being kept hostage. A thug comes in and feeds him. The masked man enters the corridor, ready to battle. He fights the men, putting tied ropes on his knuckles to make his fists more powerful. He is outnumbered, yet he can recover after several blows. As he grows fatigued, he utilizes the wall to push himself against the stronger men. He enters the room after beating all of them, removing his disguise to protect the youngster from becoming afraid. He then goes out, holding the kid. Episode 2 is complete, and we'll see you tomorrow for episode 3. Thank you.